machine. Also joining us from NewsMax New York, former New York police detective Tom Ruskin. Tom is currently the president of the CMP Protective and Investigative Group. Gentlemen, as always, we appreciate your time here on NewsMax Prime. Dan, first to you, how significant do you think this threat is?
It's very significant, JD, but I'm not sure that, and again, this isn't meant to diminish the significance of the threat. I'm not sure if this is what we've sadly become accustomed to in the last 6 or 7 months with ISIS-inspired soft target terror attacks. The cutting of fiber optic lines requires a degree of technicality that, while it may be a threat, it may be from larger operations, maybe state actors, some form of international sabotage. I don't see this as being an ISIS-inspired soft target attacks. They're used to small arms tactical assaults, a couple of Kalashnikovs or AR-15s, and a crowd. It just requires a lot of planning to do this and leaves a lot of investigative breadcrumbs. But, I could be wrong. That's just my opinion on it.
Well, there is one element of this, Tom, that intrigues me and quite frankly mystifies me a bit. If I'm not mistaken, this year, the site of the Super Bowl at the new Niners Stadium, Levi Stadium out in Santa Rosa, California. And typically, a terror act takes place with the world watching. So if you're attacking the fiber optics, that would seem to suggest something other than, forgive me, typical terrorism, would it not?
You're absolutely right, and Dan's absolutely right as well. I mean, I agree with Dan in the idea that it sort of fits more of the characteristics of a statewide terrorist attack. We know that the Chinese for years and years and years are hacking and looking to do different types of attacks on the U.S. government. And this would be a perfect opportunity for someone like that or a state-run sponsored terrorist attack to attempt it, to see if they could do it and then see how much it disrupts the U.S.
Well, it is something that we will literally have to keep our eyes on in the days ahead. Now, there's something else going on that we need you gentlemen to comment on, and that is the state of policing, law enforcement here in the United States. Last night, former New York Police Commissioner Bernie Kerik was on this program. We talked about the two cop killings, one in Ohio and in Utah. Bernie had this reaction. Let's look and listen.
This is behavior that has been increasing. This is stuff that we've seen increasing over the last few years, especially last year, in ambushes, attempted assassinations, executions. And I think this is something that's going to continue if the leadership in government, starting from the White House on down, if they don't set an example for really aggressively dealing with this stuff.
Dan, we just heard Bernie. Do you believe the White House is fueling anti-cop sentiment?
I do, and I can prove it. It's easy for me to just say yes and move on, but that's not what we do here on these types of shows. We're conservatives. We have to actually provide evidence. Barack Obama had the opportunity, JD, when this entire kind of anti-police attitude started to take place after Ferguson, to put out the right narrative of what happened. People knew relatively early in the game in Ferguson, JD, that the hands up, don't shoot narrative was in fact false. Matter of fact, the autopsy conducted by the family conclusively showed that it was impossible that Michael Brown was either shot in the back or was shot with his hands up. Now, instead of the White House doing in a leadership role what they should have appropriately done, sending out the DOJ and saying, folks, listen, this did not happen this way. You're free to protest. It's a free country, right, JD? Nobody's saying otherwise. You don't like the cops, as long as you're respectful and you do your protesting and you don't assault a police officer, you're allowed to do that. But that's not what they did. They let this environment grow and metastasize because it benefits them politically. And I think every rational actor on both sides of the movement understands that's why they let this happen. It benefited them politically, organizationally, and it's a real shame because real people are being hurt by this.
A minute remains, and Tom, you will get the last word. So whether you call it a war on cops or not, the fact is, if a police officer feels he has a target on his back, that is going to affect the way he does his job, is it not?
Especially, absolutely, and especially when you feel that administrations, be it de Blasio in New York City or the Obama White House, is not going to stand behind you. I will take Dan's point one step further. The Obama White House sent 3 representatives to the Brown funeral in Ferguson, knowing the evidence did not support the hands up, don't shoot theory, and has never sent a representative to any police funeral in this country that I have known of.
There is one word for that, gentlemen: despicable. Tom Ruskin in New York, Dan Bongino in Palm City, Florida. Gentlemen, as always, you have our thanks for your insights and analysis. Again, the name of Dan's book, The Fight, a Secret Service agent's inside account of security failings and the political machine. Do you have some feelings on this? Send me your comments at newsmaxtv.com/comments. There's more